Welcome back, friends. Today we're going to be talking about how to homeschool when you have a baby or a toddler or both. We've definitely been in times of our life where we have had both going on, sometimes two toddlers and a baby. So if you're in that stage, I get it. Man, it's a hard station of life. But there are ways to make it a little bit more manageable. So let me share those with you. Of course, you are going to want to try to get the baby's needs met, right? That means you're going to have to be flexible with school. If you are going to be having a baby, try to plan your schooling around when the baby is going to be born. What I mean by that is, if you are going to be having a baby right before you're planning on starting the school year, get your school started a little bit earlier and then take a break. I suggest at least a month and then slowly start back into school again. Now, as things go along, you may get better and better at it. Usually now, when I've had a baby the last 3 or 4 times, I've only had to have a 2-week break because I've gotten better at it over the years. But the first time I needed a full month, and then we slowly added things in. And when you're adding things in after a new baby, that means maybe do one subject, do a group lesson together, and then slowly add another subject and another subject until you feel comfortable. And you know what the baby's gonna adjust to your schedule and you can adjust to their schedule. That's the beauty of homeschooling, because you can make adjustments and be flexible. But give yourself some grace period, okay? So if you're going to be having a baby right in the middle of a school year, maybe adjust your breaks. Don't take as long of a break during Christmas or whenever else you take a break, spring break, and then take a longer break in the middle of the school year. Make sure you take that break to heal and to kind of get a little bit of a schedule down with that new baby before you step right back into homeschooling. You can do the same with morning sickness as well. I know sometimes with my babies, I get super, super sick, so I'm gonna have to take a little bit of a break and adjust my breaks. And then slowly add things back on until we have a full homeschool schedule again. Remember, this is your home education. It doesn't have to look like anybody else's. The next one that I would really suggest when you have a baby is getting some kind of baby carrier. There are probably a million of them out there. Some people like the wraps, some people like the backpack ones, however you are most comfortable. Make sure you have some kind of baby carrier so that you can be hands-free and help other kids with school while you're holding your baby and it's close to you, because that's how, especially in the beginning, how they feel most comfortable. I definitely suggest that. Now, for a fellow not touchy-feely kind of person, if you're one of those, I understand that baby carrying can be very overwhelming at times, especially dealing with postpartum, and it can really drain you. So I also suggest that besides carrying your baby when you can, when you need a break, make sure that your kids, your other kids, or your husband, or whatever other adult is there, can help you. You can take breaks and everybody pass the baby around. Everybody loves to hold babies anyway. And I used to use it as an incentive. If you get your schoolwork done, then you get to hold the baby, and they loved that. And sometimes my husband would take the baby too if he's just taking calls or if he has a break during the day as well. Now, if you are totally by yourself, and this is the first time, brand new baby, when you're schooling a child, you don't have anybody that can hold the baby for you, or just people are working on projects and you need somewhere for the baby to go, I suggest getting a baby bouncer or a baby swing. Most babies like one of those, either the bouncer or the swing. So I definitely recommend having one of those as well, so that they can still be with you, but you don't have to constantly have them against you if that bothers you. Some people love to hold their baby all the time, and that is awesome. Another one is the high chair, or the chairs that hold up your baby as soon as they can sit up a little bit, and you can put them in one of those and they can sit right on the table with you and just be part of the group, and they feel happy being part of the group. Another thing I suggest with babies is save your hard subjects for when you know your baby is going to be taking a nap. So any kind of project that's going to require a lot of hands-on from you, or a lot of concentration and a lot of energy, schedule that around your baby's nap time. And the same with toddlers. If you do not want so much help during a hard subject, schedule that subject around your toddlers or your babies nap time. Another thing with both babies and toddlers is prep them for school. Make sure that you have them as ready to go, just like if you were going to take them out of the house, make them as ready to go for school as if you were going to take them out of the house. That means their diaper is changed, they are fed, they are burped, they are clean, they have all their needs met as far as you know, and that they are totally prepared to start school. Now, I have completely had those colicky, high-maintenance babies where sometimes it just seems no matter what you do, they are just a little bit fussy. And that means that sometimes you are just going to have to adapt. You might have to do school standing up, carrying them the whole time. You might have to trade around so that baby has more people. Or you might need to do something like do school in sections, because sometimes with fussy babies, they're being overstimulated. And so sometimes what you need to do is just do a little bit of school here, a little bit of school here, and a little bit of school here, so that the baby has not so much going on all in one big chunk and they can be a little more relaxed. Remember too that your energy is going to affect the baby and vice versa. So if your baby is super upset, you may need to take a break from school just so you don't get too anxious, and vice versa. If you feel yourself getting very anxious about a subject or school, it's time to take a break and step back so that that doesn't affect the baby, doesn't affect everyone else, and doesn't affect especially your little ones if you're dealing with a toddler as well. If you're only dealing with a toddler right now, or a toddler and a baby, some things that you can think about with a toddler are making sure that you have a designated play area. Now, we've been in homes where we have a playroom, which is awesome and wonderful, but we've also had homes where our playroom is wherever you play, right? We just didn't have a big house. And so I would designate an area for their playroom while we were doing school and try to block it off as much as possible so they couldn't go climb stairs or go play in the toilet or play in the garbage. You know, I would put some boundaries around it, either with furniture or sometimes even a big playpen, depending on the situation and the child, so that they can be safe while I'm focusing on school. And I can still see them and they can still see me, but I don't have to be constantly entertaining them. They have toys and they have things to work with. Now, of course, there's needy toddlers just like there are needy babies. And sometimes you're just going to have that toddler sit in your lap. If they're a super movement type toddler, then get a high chair that they can sit in and do some activities. Just like all my kids have their box of schoolwork, my toddler has their box of activities as well. It might have puzzles or Play-Doh or paint or just some coloring. One of the favorite things that all my kids have loved for some reason is just cutting up paper and gluing it to things. And so I will stick them in the high chair or put them at the table and they can just cut to their heart's content, and that's a great activity. And they usually just use some scrap paper so we're not wasting a bunch of paper, and it's wonderful. They love it, and then they can glue it to things. Then you can give them some stickers or you can give them some coloring. And there's magnets and there's cards and blocks and all kinds of activities you know that they can use and be hands-on with and feel like they're part of the group. But if you can, during more active times, you know, when you need a lot of concentration, you can put them in a high chair, put them in their designated play area. If they're just having a hard time, you might need to schedule around them and have them sit right there with you and give them some coloring. And it's okay. It's okay. It might not go as fast or as productive as you would like to be, but you'll work through it, and you know what? They'll still feel loved and included. Those breaks are essential for everyone, especially with babies and toddlers, so that everyone can decompress. And also sometimes it helps that the toddler knows that you're going to be free at some point. So you might just have to work in those school times and take little breaks in between to kind of reconnect with them and make them feel like they're part of this too. Another thing that has totally been a game changer for us is including our toddlers in our school. Now, there's two ways we do that. One is having their own school time. That means 5 or 10 minutes where I sit with them and do some easy learning activities. Can be as easy as reading a book or doing an activity with them, showing them how to cut, showing them how to play with Play-Doh, or build with blocks, depending on what level they're at. Or it could be even teaching them their sounds or how to count, something very simple. And then as an extension of this, we have what's called 3T. 3T means 3 T's, and it means toddler teaching time. That means with one of the older kids, starting at very young, even 4 or 5 years old, they can teach their younger siblings, the toddler of the family, a new skill. This can be anything from what I was teaching them to colors and shapes and doing an activity with them of gluing or cutting or coloring, or it can be reading them a book, or it can be something like tying shoes or planting something together or going on a walk outside. This is when that sibling gets to teach that toddler something, but also bond with them and share some special time with them. And that has been wonderful to create unity and wonderful relationships, but it's also great because mom is not in charge of everything. The teacher is not in charge of everything. That everybody's kind of sharing the toddler time together. And that's also only a few minutes, and it can be used as an incentive too. If you get your work done, then you get to go play with your little sister or little brother, and that's been wonderful. There are so many activities that you can do with a baby or a toddler. Remember, some important things to keep in mind are noise. Sometimes it's helpful to have some light music, but I've had children that get agitated because they're overstimulated with music. And so you need to be aware and watch your kids and see what's best for them. Music might be a great thing, or some breaks in between where you have some dancing and singing might be a good release for you, or that might be an overstimulation for them. You might need some more active things, or you might need some more sitting down things. This is going to be a matter of figuring out what's best for your child, and you're going to know. If your child is very energetic, very moving, then you know you're going to need more activities. If your child is quieter and more reserved and likes to sit with you, then you can have some sit-down activities. But overall, remember that you're going to want to go with the flow, go what's best with your family, because this is unique to your family. This is your homeschool, not anybody else's. And when you're going with the flow, remember those breaks, not only for sanity, but also for cleaning up. Because one thing with babies and toddlers, there is going to be a mess. And for us, what we do is we just save the mess for certain times. And we just let the mess happen, and then we have a cleanup time. And that way, we don't have to worry about it. It doesn't become an anxious thing that we're making a mess. It's part of the process. And last of all, what I would say is I would share with you something that I learned a long time ago from one of my mentors, where she said, the baby is the lesson. And I would add, the toddler is the lesson. The way you're treating your baby and the way you're treating your toddler and including them in the family and including them in your education and making them feel part of it, but also teaching your older children how to teach them and how to care for them, that is the main lesson. This is about family and unity and togetherness. This is about your family education and what kind of relationships and what kind of family life you want to have and what kind of skills you want them to have. Remember, you're working as a team, and everything you do teaches something, and everything you don't do teaches something. So the way you react to your baby and toddler is the way your older children will, and the way they're learning to react to life. I know this is hard sometimes. There are days that I just can't do it, and I don't react well. But I know if you set things up, if you prep your kids, if you have some help, you try to delegate things, if you have those tools in place, you have those boxes of activities, you have those baby carriers, and you take some breaks, give yourself some grace, that this is really, you're gonna find that this is a beautiful time of life, and it's going to be busy and chaotic, but it's also going to be gorgeous and creative and wonderful and growing. So enjoy this. I hope that if you're going through a really tough time that you can reach out, that I can help you in some way. Like this video and subscribe. Connect with us on Instagram and Facebook, and we'll be sure to see you in the next video. See you later.